it does grow to be as much as 100 feet tall. And one thing that's a little different about this is that it has leaves that are throughout the entire stalk of the kelp. And we have some other types of fish that will take advantage of that, like these beautiful orange ones right here. What type of fish are those, Kim?
These are rockfish. We're looking at a canary rockfish right in front of me, and a tiger rockfish, the orange with the dark stripes.
That's right. Now, a lot of animals get common names based on behaviors, like schooling salmon. They also get names based on colors and color patterns. And that tiger rockfish is a perfect example of that, with the orange body and the dark stripes. Now, notice also that the rockfish, we got another type of rockfish over here. This is a yellow-eye rockfish, a little bit big to be hanging out amongst this, but when you have that densely packed kelp forest, like she was mentioning, they'll hide amongst many stalks of leaves. Now, the shape of their body matches that of the leaves, so they might even just sit and perch amongst all those leaves too.
Yeah, and you can see that tiger rockfish sometimes likes to do that right here on this giant kelp. And you mentioned hiding that larger rockfish, the yellow-eyed rockfish, the dark orange in the far side here. And as rockfish grow up and become adults, they tend to move towards the rocky habitat. Those large rocky pillars and those ledges and archways that you see in this exhibit are a great example of where the rockfish will like to hang out as they become adults.
That's right. Now, of course, in order to survive, they also need to get their food. And we're going to see a couple of different types of feeding behaviors. Kim, did you happen to bring the goodie bag with you today?
I did.
All right. So we'll talk a little bit about the type of feeding behaviors that help them to survive. And one thing you're going to notice is that there's very different personalities. You might have already noticed that the salmon stay very busy. Those rockfish tend to stay very still. And that's two different personalities. The rockfish, they kind of sit and hover, and they wait for food to come to them. They're very opportunistic animals. But they can also ambush their prey, because if they sit very still as a rock, then maybe other animals either don't know they're there, and that helps with not getting eaten. It also helps them to ambush prey. And then our salmon over here, they are very different.
They are. They're always on the move. They live a pretty short lifespan of about 3 to 5 years, depending on the species. And in that time period, they spend a lot of time growing big and strong. And so they're always looking for food, always hungry.
All right, now speaking of looking for food, they're definitely looking right now. They know something's coming.
They do. So I have a handful here of krill, which is kind of like little tiny shrimp. And I'm going to throw up a handful and see if they are hungry. Let's see what they do.
We can see how quickly they are just dive bombing that food. That behavior is called strike feeding. And the whole objective with salmon is that they need to get as much food as they can, as quickly as they can, as often as they can, because of that short lifespan. Now, we are starting to see some of the other rockfish slowly but surely making their way up, because they do associate the diver with food. And but out in the wild, they may not be moving quite that much. They're just going to be sitting very still. As a matter of fact, rockfish may not move from the same place that they were born for 3 days at a time. They might stay very still. They also tend not to travel beyond a mile from where they were born, too. They like to stay in that same place.
That's right. Rockfish can live quite a bit longer than salmon. For example, this blue rockfish right here might live 70 years. It's that dark one that just moved in front of me. And that yellow-eyed rockfish we were talking about on the far side coming towards me now is documented living as long as 140 years.
That's right.
So because they live such a long time, they do like to take it easy and not move around too much.
Now, all of these animals have special ways that they're adapted for their environment so that they can survive, whether it be to get their food or to avoid being eaten. but we can play a role in helping them to survive as well and not having a negative impact on their life. And I'll bet a lot of the things that we can do as humans to help them have a healthier and longer lifespan is things you're already doing. If you ride your bike as often as possible, riding your bike helps because there's less car pollution getting into the atmosphere. It also has less car pollution getting into any habitat, no matter where you live on the planet, whether it's dry or it is the ocean. That's important habitat for a lot of different animals.
Heidi, I like to walk to work.
You actually
That's
want to
right,
ride?
yeah.
Nice. All right. Well, Kim, thanks so much for hanging out with us today.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. And hope you have a wonderful time here at the Seattle Aquarium.
Now, if you have any questions,